right, guys, so what we're going to do here, we got Stone Show Enhancer. The red label is going to be the enhancer. This is the more challenging of the two Stone Shows to put down. It does require buffing, and as with all Stone Show products, you have to etch before you pressure wash, and you have to let it dry before you apply this. So as a reminder, Stone Show doesn't get the sand installed. It's not a sealer that's designed for the sand. It's designed to protect these natural stones the way they were meant to be by penetrating. So what we're going to do very simply, this does not need a heavy application. 1 gallon goes a long ways, okay? And the idea here is not to go so heavy. You want to go light and use a floor mop to kind of move it around, and we'll show you exactly what that looks like. You want to make sure that this is dry and rinsed out. We did just rinse it out. It's mostly dry. Ideally, you want it completely dry. So in an effort to use all the sealer that I do put into this pump-up sprayer, I'm not going to pour the entire gallon. We're going to start halfway and see what we get. The deck has had long enough time to dry. All the pores in the travertine have been completely dry, so we're good to go. We're going to start in the sunny sections and give it a little bit of time, work our way back, and we'll show you every step of the way. All right, so I have a common wood floor mop. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to use my pump-up sprayer. I'm going to start down there where it's nice and sunny. We're going to spray a nice little bit out, and then we're going to take our mop and literally spread it out past the section we're working in and drag it in to where we're at. The goal with Stone Show is you're not supposed to step on it. You're supposed to work it in manageable sections. However, using the buffer afterwards with a little degreaser, pressure washing it really helps you because this product does leave footprints when you step on it. That's why they say spray in manageable sections and work your way out of where you're at. I have found that with the enhancer product, there is no way around using a commercial floor buffer and getting the extra residue off. It does leave the best finish. There's no streaks, there's no footprints. It's gorgeous. So we'll show you every step of the way. Right now, we're going to do a time lapse where you'll see me spraying a little section and pulling it into the next area. That's how we apply Stone Show Enhancer once the surface is completely dry. Alright guys, we're almost 100% applied with the sealer. If you'll notice, I've actually been pushing pretty hard as I sweep this back and forth. It's not a casual sweep. I'm really working it into the surface, trying to spread it around. It's tougher than it looks. I want to touch on a couple things. If you were using Stone Show Enhancer and you didn't plan to use the buffer like we have back there to commercially make everything polished, you really want to make sure you're only doing a couple feet in front of you and you're working your way out, and use a very light amount. What's going to happen, and I'll show you later, you can see that the residue builds up streaks regardless of what I do working on this. If you step on it after you spray, it's going to leave a footprint. So if you're a homeowner or you're a contractor thinking about doing Stone Show, make sure you budget for your buffer, okay, as a part of the process. And we'll get into that next. In the meantime, I got a few more areas, and we're going to let this sit up for just a little while, okay? Great. All right, so everything's dried up a sufficient amount. We're ready to go ahead. What we'll do first is we're going to get the surface area kind of wet, and then we're going to apply a degreaser. At that point, I'm going to turn on the buffer, go over all of the stones. We'll crank back on the pressure washer and make sure everything gets rinsed off. That's really the final step aside from buffing in all of the edges by hand. Let's get started. All right, guys, so we've went ahead, we've buffed it. Now, after the product's had a chance to sit, we've used a degreaser, we've buffed it, we've kept it wet so the sun doesn't dry it up. Ideally, you have a second person with you and they can be using a washer. I like to use hot water. And now that we're all done with the buffer, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hot water surface clean, go over everything real quick, and then one more rinse. And that's pretty much what it takes to make sure that this Stone Show travertine sealing project really works out and looks 100%.